Hi everyone, this is Athena from Courage Coaching. Thank you for joining me today. If you would like to subscribe to my channel, then please click on the subscribe button in order to receive notifications for any new videos that I upload. In today's video, I wanted to touch on a subject that I made a video on when I first started this channel, and this topic is love addiction. Nowadays you hear a lot more about limerence, but love addiction is something that I have encountered a lot in my coaching and when I've been supporting people. And I think it's something that is very, very common and most people don't realize it. Addiction is common, especially when we have suffered childhood trauma, but love addiction is a little bit more complicated because when we fall in love with somebody, the reasons are usually unconscious. We are not aware why we are more attracted to one person over another. So everything you would associate with addiction, we see in a love addict, such as obsessiveness, excessiveness, destructiveness, compulsive behavior, and being overly dependent on something. Now, in the case of love addiction, what is it? Essentially, love addiction is a very unhealthy attachment to people, so a person that you may fall in love with, to the feeling of being in love. It is an addiction to the euphoria that you feel when you're in love, an addiction to the sex or addiction to romance. And all of these things help us get certain unfulfilled needs met from our childhood. These needs that we need meeting are actually very unhealthy because they are rooted in past neglect and a lack of love. So if you have grown up in a family where you didn't receive unconditional love, where you didn't have your needs met, your emotional needs met, and you were neglected and your emotions were neglected, then you will notice that there is a certain pattern of behavior when you fall in love with somebody, when you seek out partners. There is a certain level of desperation. You are desperately seeking a partner to love you because you are trying to fill the void that you have been left with from your childhood. So love addiction is actually an unhealthy reliance on somebody external to ourselves. And the reason we attach ourselves to this person is because we are trying to unconsciously heal different parts of our childhood trauma. Love addiction is also something that we develop because we want to soothe the intense loneliness we feel, the intense emptiness we feel, right? So it is always based on unhealthy patterns of behavior. So what do love addicts actually believe? They believe that their love object will take away all of their pain, make them whole again and happy again, and that they will be able to love them unconditionally. Unfortunately, love addicts have very low self-esteem. They have a fear of abandonment and deep unmet emotional needs, like I mentioned before. Now, what are some of the characteristics, some of the symptoms that you will see in somebody who has a love addiction? Firstly, you will notice that they fall in love very quickly, very easily, and very intensely. Love addicts are extremely needy and they aren't comfortable being on their own. Love addicts neglect themselves when they have a love interest. They ignore all of the red flags and they start becoming excessively obsessive over their subject. And they aren't able to function normally when they are in love with somebody. They feel an absolute desperation when they are not in contact with their love interest. And this sort of resembles anxious attachment, but it is even more extreme. The problem with love addiction is that love addicts are infatuated with the early stages of a romantic relationship where they are so in love, where everything is so intense and wonderful. However, they struggle when the relationship starts getting more serious, when it becomes more stable, and when reality sets in and the everyday infatuation that they felt at the beginning is no longer there. They are actually frightened of long-lasting, true intimacy. Love addicts need intensity in a relationship in order to feel comfortable. Love addicts also tend to choose partners that they believe need fixing, or they choose partners that are emotionally unavailable. Love addicts also have very high tolerance for abusive behavior, or they will tend to attract partners that are avoidant and don't have the desire to have a proper relationship. And the sad thing with love addiction is that when the relationship actually falls apart or breaks down, they have an intolerable amount of grief and they have suicidal thoughts. They cannot bear the thought that they are now going to be on their own without the attention and love from their partner. They find it absolutely unbearable to be on their own. Now, is love addiction something that can actually be healed? Well, first of all, you need to acknowledge that you are actually a love addict, that you are actually addicted to the high of early infatuation, that you want to have these sort of relationships, otherwise you feel completely empty and alone inside, that you have this desperation. Once you acknowledge that you are actually a love addict and that you really, really struggle with this, then you can move on to actually addressing why this is something that is such a big part of your life. You know, what is it that you're missing? What is it you didn't get in your childhood? What needs did you not get met? And how can you meet those needs for yourself now without doing things that are addictive or harmful or traumatizing, right? So psychotherapy is really good for this, as is going to meetings of Love Addicts Anonymous. Now, Love Addicts Anonymous might not exist in your country. It depends where you are, but usually you can find Love Addict Anonymous meetings. Sometimes you can find them online. So these can be very, very good for you, very supportive. They can help you feel less alone. And you can share with other people that are also experiencing the same feelings of intensity that you feel as well as a love addict. Now, if you can relate to this at all, if you feel that you have been a love addict and now you're finally coming out of it, then I'd love to hear your experience. If you know somebody who's a love addict, then again, please let me know. And yeah, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to email me at courageisallyounneed@gmail.com. So yeah, that's the end of the video today, everyone. Thank you so much for listening, for tuning in, and I will see you in my next video. Take care. Bye-bye.